and then or maybe it was the second day, the day we had the short yardage goal line. But I thought the guys stepped it up after that, after we challenged them in meetings, and then today was the 10-10-10, so it was kind of more execution and mental. We got a long way to go. We got a lot of guys banged up, so we're kind of working through that. But with that, I'll just open it up and fire away.
There's been every day a different defensive leader. You know, yesterday Drew was kind of chippy and getting into it. George has had a day. Nick has had a day. Is that just something that this defense does, or?
Well, I mean, I'm hoping that's a thread of all defenses. I'm certainly hoping it's a thread of ours. I don't think there's anything wrong with being chippy as long as we remember that we're all on the same team and that there's there's some respect there. And I think our guys handle that pretty good. I mean, we didn't get no fisticuffs yet, right? So nobody wants to encourage that. But listen, the game's physical, and the one thing we have conveyed to them is, you know, especially the vets, like when you add up the number of plays they get in the 3 preseason games, I don't know, let's say it's 35 to 50, but you might be a DB that never gets to make a tackle. You know, so somewhere you got to work on it, and to me it's out here when you have pads on, and so we do what we call wrap and release, and that kind of maybe leads to some of that. But I think the offensive guys have been good about it.
Does that kind of go with Nick? I know it's there that you are preaching right now, no on and off switches always.
Yeah.
Does that kind of go with that?
Yeah, he knows that picture that I put up. It has the, you know, that the switch has an on that plate and an off. Well, the off's crossed out. And they know when they step on the field. I mean, that's how you have to play. I mean, when you take plays off, we don't get enough of them. We have a lot of walkthroughs. So the reps that we do get in the morning, we got to take advantage of, and they got to be full speed.
What kind of progress you've seen from Felix?
Felix? Yeah, I think Felix has gotten a little bit better every day. I think there was a couple practices there. He struggled a little bit. I think his confidence is better. The last 2 days, he's been pretty good. Like today, I thought he made. Yesterday and today, I thought he did pretty good without watching the tape. I thought he had some good plays.
Coach, your top 3 linebackers, Bolton, Tranquil, and then Leo, just role-wise, how do you kind of see them this year?
Yeah, I mean, look, those are our base linebackers. Those are the 3. Then we try to get them in, mix them in there sometimes, and you know, other downs and distances, possible third down. I think all 3 of those guys have certain skill sets that we would like to use. You know, get them out there. Now, when you got 3 linebackers in there, you know, somebody's coming out. There's one less DB or there's one less D lineman. So we got to work our way through that. But one of the things we do like being is multiple. And when guys can play different positions, like Leo, he's kind of all over the place. Drew is, you know, and Drew's got to play some Mike linebacker. And yeah, you get to about next week. I talked about it with the staff the other day. You got to start thinking about guys in dual roles now, because pretty soon it's not whatever the number is out there, 90. You know, it's not 90 guys anymore, and all of a sudden our number of guys shrinks. So guys are going to have dual responsibilities.
There are a couple of corners who are hurt right now, so Kelvin Joseph's getting a pretty good run. What have you seen from him so far?
Yeah, Kelvin, I don't know if you know, he had a baby, so he was gone for a little bit. We lost him there, so he was a little bit behind. He's playing catch-up now. He's getting some work with the ones. He made a couple of plays yesterday, so he earned that. But he's going to be right in the thick of the things with the other corner. I mean, you need 3 of them, and he's made enough plays, I think, to warrant working with that first group.
With Drew, Trent specifically, I know last year that him and Nick were sharing the field together all that frequently. How do you see the dynamic of them both?
You're saying sharing the field out here?
Yeah, just Drew and Nick.
Yeah, listen. The one thing about both those guys is they're both very cerebral, very smart. So I think they feed off each other that way. That goes a long way when I'll bet if you ask D linemen, they'd tell you that they appreciate the guys that are behind them are really sharp. You know, they're ahead of things. You know, watch out for this motion, watch out for that shift. They change a D lineman here. And when you got 2 guys can do that instead of just one, I think it makes everything go a little bit like that. And I think the rest of the defense knows that about those 2 guys and really rely on them. I mean, I'll watch DBs go over and ask Drew and Nick questions about it. It might even be playing DB or something in the defense because they know that those 2 guys know exactly what's going on.
Seems like Brian Cook has had a pretty good camp.
Yeah, we missed him when he got hurt last year. But the one thing about Brian is he goes 100 miles an hour all the time. He'll tell you he was a little bit rusty getting back into it, but I think it's kind of smoothing out for him right now.
Let's wrap it up. We'll start with Saran and then go over that and talk about
Is it important, you know, I know you're trying to replace Legarius and you talked about how tough that is and everything, but you want a 1 and a 2 and a 3, or do you see a scenario where maybe your depth comes into play and it could be matchup driven as to who's that? Or is it important
to have kind of that pecking order of where guys are?
Well, we know who our number one is, right? We all know that. And we're just trying to find guys, and we're going to have to find our next two best players, however that works out. I mean, we know NJ, Nazi's dealing with his little injury right now. Josh has been out there. Kelvin, there's a lot of guys mixing in there. But somebody's got to surface, and if not, it gets tough. You know, you can have the best pass rush in the world, but these receivers get open quick if you're not able to cover them. So we got some developing to do. We certainly miss LJ, but somebody's got to step up there and take that play. I'm waiting for somebody to, you know, assert themselves and say that, you know, I'm that guy that can do it. Nah, we got a little ways to go on that, in my opinion. Yeah.
When you were telling the guys about having one of the best defenses in the league and then having a disappointing year the next year,
Yeah.
did you want to see? Are you seeing what you wanted to see? That fire, that chippiness, and what are other things you want to see?
I would say yes on that. I know what you're talking about because I conveyed that to them. I mean, look, we all learn from experiences, and I'm always sharing that with them. And so that was an experience that I went through, and my promise to them was I was going to do everything I could to make sure that didn't happen again. And that kind of began with how we operate in practice. That's the on-off switch, which we've always had. But I just wanted them to realize that just because you can't sit on what you did last year, it doesn't automatically happen. And we got a lot of work to do. Got some. We're talking about players we got to fill in for, and we got a long way to go before we figure that part out.
Trent is so good at just about everything, Steve. Is this
Yeah.
a period?
It's a good statement.
Yeah, it is.
And it's a true statement.
Is this a period or a time where you're asking him to be more aggressive in terms of what you mentioned, you know, the last time we talked to you about takeaways, trying to get your hands on the ball as much as possible?
Trent in particular, you said? Or, yeah. He's got a natural feel for all that. And, I mean, look, he's waiting for his first NFL interception, right? I mean, but I told him this before. You know, he got voted – when did he get voted All-Pro? By his peers last year. I thought that was the hugest compliment to a DB that did not have an interception, because that tells you all you need to know. So to your point, he does a lot of things really good, and I'll guarantee you he's got his eyeballs on trying to get a couple of picks this year. But the other thing he does a really good job of is he's created some fumbles by having a knack for getting it out. We need all of that from all those guys.
What's the value of these 10-10-10 days for you?
Yeah, more mental than anything. I think we went 3 straight days with pads, and I think Coach Reed would tell you the same thing. It's a good way to get a lot of work done, right, but take a little bit of the physicality off it. It was about time with our guys, and now they'll have the day off, and I think it works out pretty good. Yeah. It's a little agonizing for me sometimes because you can't do anything physically.
there defensively. What do you feel like is the kind of edge and mentality of this team that tells you you're not going to have that letdown?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it just goes back to the foundation that we built. You know what I mean? For me personally, being here the past 2 years, this defense has just consistently gotten better and better. And I think we're a group of guys that every day we come out to practice, every day we go into the meeting rooms, we have a purpose. And we're out there to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. You know what I mean? So I feel like the standard has been set. And I think having somebody like Coach Spags to really just lay the foundation from day one and say, this is what we're shooting for, this is what we're doing, I feel like everybody's bought in. And I think that's been the best part about being out here so far.
Was there a point last year where you knew how good you were going to be defensively, where you saw things coming together and said, okay, we're going to be the number 2 defense or whatever you guys ended up at?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember last year me talking, but last year OTAs, that was when I first was like, whoa. Coming from rookie year and then going to that spring, I was like, okay, things have been like a little different, like something about the defense was clicking on all cylinders. And I feel like from that OTAs to going into training camp to the first game, every single game I felt like the defense just got better and better and better. And each player's got more comfortable and confident. So I saw that from a very early on time period that we were going to be really good.
What do you see in that regard this year?
I think the confidence has just become even more. I think that's the biggest thing for this defense out here is just we've gone through all the bumps and bruises. You know what I mean? We've worked back last year, losing some games and having to fight through playoffs and go to away games and the adversity. So coming back, I think the big thing for us is just welcoming these new guys in, showing them this is the standard, this is how we practice, this is how we do things, the rookies, even the new guys that we just brought in. But I feel like everybody's really just honed it in and took it on the chin and just rolled with the punches.
Coach Spagnuolo reminded us of your all-pro season. Just coming off something like that, what is your personal emphasis on how to get better and grow even from the top of the game?
Yeah, last year, all-pro, but I feel like, I still was learning so much. Last year was really my first time at the nickel position, and then this year, LJ leaving, moving to the outside, it's a different ball game, you know what I mean? Inside, you got help here and there, you can do things a little differently, but on the outside, on the island, you got to be a technician. And coming into this camp knowing that I might have to do some more of that, it's been each and every day just working little by little on technique, and just trying to perfect myself out there. So still growing, still learning, and I feel like that's one thing that wakes me up every day.
Darius shut down some of the better receivers in the game. How willing and how vocal have you been about maybe doing that this year if they called them on?
I told Spags, wherever he needs me, like I always said, that's where you can put me. Going against the best of the best, that's why we play this game, to go against the best of the best. So being able to compete no matter who it's against, I'm ready to do that.
You're the vet now in that leadership, in that DB role. How much are you embracing that leadership role?
Yeah, I'm not somebody, who's going to be that rah-rah, leader, jump in front, yelling at everybody. But definitely just spending a little more time outside of meetings, outside of being on the field to get to know the guys, to let them know about the little knickknacks that Coach Spags' playbook can have, that I came in as a rookie and being like, yo, slow it down, you know what I mean? It's a big jump come from college to learn this playbook to coming out here, Coach Reed's training camps, the LDDs, that you're going to be tired, you have your bumps and bruises. So just settle in, like we're going to bring you up to speed. So just rely on us, and that's something that I've really been just trying to make myself do each and every day is just making sure I tell the guys, like, it's going to be all right.
Guys don't talk about it a lot, but Chris and Nick both talk about how they worked on their mental, in the offseason. How much have you done with that?
Man, it's huge. I'm someone who's big on just the mental side of everything, you know what I mean? Not just football, but just in life in general, because you never know how somebody's feeling at the end of the day. So going back to California, seeing my family, seeing my little niece and nephew, and just being able to take that time to myself to just understand who I am again and just understand what I want for the rest of this year was huge for me.
Talking about Xavier Worthy and just the trouble he's going to give defenses.
Yeah, bright kid, you know what I mean? Coming in, humble, fast as hell, as everybody knows, you know what I mean? Can stretch that field definitely, but going against him, he's one of those dudes that you can just tell is just constantly learning, you know what I mean? You constantly see him talking to the coaches, talking to Pat, where he wants some ball, this and that, and the biggest thing for me is he's been catching the ball, you know what I mean? You love to see it. Guys come in here and want to run fast, want to run hard, but at the end of the day, it's catching the ball, and he's been one of those guys that's been consistent with that.
I want to ask you about a couple of safeties. First of all, what are you seeing from Jaden in his first training camp, but then also just getting Brian Cook back? What's that been like?
Yeah, Jaden's doing great. You know what I mean? They got him playing a few different positions, which I know as a safety can be difficult learning this playbook, but he's asking all the right questions. You can tell each and every day he's coming in and taking notes and focusing in and trying to do everything the correct way, which you love to see on the back end because doing what he's doing is pretty difficult. So just seeing his growth from spring to now has been huge. So I'm excited for him. And then, you know, B. Cook, love the energy. I mean, you miss a guy like that out there that finishes every play. You know what I mean? You see him each and every play running down the field 80 yards to go tackle the ball carrier. One of those dudes that can go sideline to sideline. I mean, he's a vet. He came with me, you know, one of my good friends. So I'm excited for him to have a full year healthy.
Trent, what does a corner need to have in order to thrive in this scheme?
Man, it honestly comes back to knowing your responsibility on each and every play. Coach Baggs has a lot of plays in, and we do a lot of different things. You can be a cover 3 corner, cover 2 corner, cover 4. I mean, we have all the coverages. So knowing where your leverage is and knowing where your help is, and at the end of the day, I mean, Coach Baggs talks about it all the time, is just disrupting the routes. You know what I mean? Getting your hands on the receivers and messing up that time is the best thing the corner can do in this defense.
Last one, Matt. You mentioned you're not the raw guy. Who right now is that kind of guy, that vocal guy in the backfield?
I mean, that's always been Jay Reed. You know what I mean?
With him being out right now, who's kind of the guy that's, you know, on a day like this when it's 86 degrees out there?
It's funny. I don't know if Jay Reed's a rah-rah guy, but I don't know if there's anybody that's going out there screaming, yelling. You know, I feel like our back end is everybody's kind of on a level playing field. You know what I mean? And everybody's able to be comfortable enough to speak up, to say, yo, a free agent can tell me, yo, man, you got to do this right, you got to do this right, and we all listen. So we're one of those guys that each and every day we're just helping each other. And, you know, when things are messing up, you know, I might speak up, B. Cook might speak up. I mean, each and every day somebody is coming in here and making sure that the standard is set. And that's something that you love to see. Yeah.
Thanks, Trent.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it.
What was it like having Joe back?
It's great, getting to have him back, doing some group install stuff, some indie stuff. It's been good, and obviously he's a big-time leader for us. He has a ton of experience, and he's a heck of a player. So whenever you get a guy like that back, it's great.
Nothing against the guys who've been replacing him up here, but what do you miss when you don't have a guy like that with his ability to experience in the lineup?
Yeah, well, I mean, experience is the biggest thing. He's done it all in the league. He's played in all the big games and everything, and he sees everything so well, and that's what makes him one of, if not the best guard in the league. So being able to have him back, it's going to be huge.
What do you do? I know there was some snap issues last week. What do you do in the offseason to try to correct that?
Yeah, just focus on technique and just getting the reps in, doing it after a workout when you're tired, things like that, so you can stay focused on the technique while you're doing it.
Joe, talk about playing in this training camp heat and what you guys are doing to keep yourself healthy and prevent injuries.
Yeah, it's a lot of recovery after practice, a lot of rehydration, things like that. So the training staff does a great job. Strength staff does a great job. Nutrition staff, everybody does a great job with us, and getting us back to where we need to be for practice the next day.
What have you learned about this offensive line the last couple of days of pads? I know it's not a game, but what have you learned about this unit?
Yeah, we're still growing as one unit right now. We've added new pieces, and we're getting closer each day. So, as long as the guys continue to keep competing, battling, we're going to like the results for this year. So, for us right now, it's just taking it day by day and getting better every day.
For you with Kingsley and the rookie, obviously you came in and started right away. So can you give us the difficulty of learning the lingo aspect of it, getting up to speed, this group?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff thrown at you during training camp, especially as a rookie, and he's done a good job being able to process stuff, study on his own at night, things like that. He's done a good job, and he's picking up on stuff well. So for him, it's just continuing to get these reps, going against really good defensive ends right now. It's going to be really helpful for him. So it's been good, and he's getting better every day, and you can tell he's bought in and working hard to get better every day too.
I suppose some of that applies to the other two offensive linemen, Norzad and Hansen. What are your impressions of them so far?
They've done great. They're awesome to be around. Same way with them. They're buying in how we need them to, and they've improved every day, and they show some great stuff, and it's been awesome to see so far.
It's only been a few months with Kingsley. Just what are some of the things behind the scenes that you might see him doing to make sure he has his best chance as possible?
Yeah, asking questions in meetings, staying sharp, staying locked in on meetings, things like that, and you can tell he has a instinct for the game. How he needs to play and how he needs to block, things like that. So as long as he keeps continuing to refine his techniques and stuff like he has been, it's going to be really good for him. He's a great athlete. He has the right mindset to be great, so it's going to be good to see.
I know last year you and Trey both had said your motto is set the tone. How often are you preaching that to those young guys?
Every day. Before practice every day, we have to let them know. So that's something that we focus on. Coming out here every day, setting the tone, making sure our guys are right, making sure we're ready to compete for the day. And so we preach that on them every day.
More business side of the game. You're coming up on that last year. Get involved in negotiations. You ask for an extension. Has the team reached out to you about anything like that?
Yeah, right now for me, I'm focused on training camp. I'm focused on football right now. Focused on getting this team to where it needs to be, and focused on getting the line where it needs to be, and getting myself to where I need to be. So that's my focus right now.
What was just the enjoyment or experience about playing guard last week of the years? Is that something you really wanted to do, maybe?
Yeah, when they originally asked me to do it, it was fun. I had a fun week, so it was a good time. Obviously, I'm more natural at center, just because I've a ton more reps at center. But it's fun, and being able to have the ability to play wherever you need to, it's good. So I had fun with it, and I'll if they ask me to do it again, I'd do it again. Yeah, it was fun, but I like center.
Guys, a couple more here.
Creed, how are they feeding you guys at camp? I saw Rashid's Instagram the other day with you and Trey with the giant steak bones. How are they feeding the big boys here?
Good. They're doing it right. So, but yeah, the food's been great. They have a great option every night, so it's been easy to eat. And there's times also where we'll sneak away and go get a burger or something. But it's been good though. The food's been great. Nutrition staff has done a great job.
Do you have any reaction to the little Raiders?
No. I'm focused on us right now. I'm focused on this team getting better. So, yeah.
All right. Awesome.
All right. Thank y'all for coming out.